And I previously reviewed the 70mm Omni 4K dashcam, which features a 360-degree rotating camera as well as the Sony Starvis 2 sensor IMX678, which produces some really good image quality. Link to that review up here. And the IMX678 sensor is probably the best sensor in the market out right now as far as image quality. But what 70mm has done, they have implemented additional technologies on top of that to take that image quality to the next level. So to test those technologies, I used the Biofo A229 Pro, which also has the IMX678 sensor, and ran some tests both at day and at night. That way we can compare the video quality of both of them. And in the interest of full disclosure, 70mm did sponsor this video. However, the opinions in it are entirely my own and nobody has reviewed or approved this video. So first I'll explain the three main technologies that 70mm is using on this dashcam, which is the Make Color Vivid Plus solution, Night Owl Vision, and the Lumi Vision technology. And each one, they say, is designed to address the most common challenges when it comes to dashcam video quality, which is poor video at night, basically video that is too dark, and overexposed video during the day, basically video that is too bright and the image is washed out. And on the second part of the video, we'll also take a look at a side-by-side comparison of each driving test. So here's what the setup looks like. Both cameras are side by side and I'm running both of them at 4K resolution at 30 frames per second, and HDR is enabled for both of them, and both of them are also equipped with their circular polarizers filter so we can get the best possible image out of them. Starting off with Dusk, this is a transition from day to night, and with the sun being low in the horizon, it can really stress a dashcam's video quality as it tries to handle that transition in light. And the first technology used here is 70mm's Night Owl Vision, which combines intelligent light adaptation and blanking optimization. The second one is intelligent light adaptation technology, which is made up of auto exposure and contrast limited adapter histogram equalization. Well, don't worry about the fancy terms, it just means that they help to brighten dark spots and tone down highlights, which helps to produce a more natural and detailed image. Now let's look at driving on a very dark road. And most accidents actually happen at night, and dashcams typically struggle in the dark, and this can lead to either grainy video or blurry video, making it hard to see the details. So 70mm uses what they call intelligent light adaptation technology to increase the exposure, which helps to capture more light. This can brighten dark areas, road markings become more clear, and vehicles are more visible. And on roads that have both light and dark areas, the amount of light available can change rapidly from light poles, store lights, vehicle headlights, and more. And dashcams can typically struggle here because they can't adjust fast enough to the changes in light, which can result in either blown out video, basically washed out video, or very dark video. So 70mm uses the blanking technology from the IMX678 sensor, which can quickly increase exposure on dark areas to increase detail, but it can also shorten the exposure to counteract fast changes in light, such as headlights hitting the camera. Well, let's also take a look at park mode performance at night, and both dashcams are hardwired, and this particular street does have a couple lights, but it can get quite dark at night sometimes. And you can see in here that the IMX678 sensor that both of them are equipped with show a brighter image already than what's out there. However, when this thing's going to park mode, this switches from normal driving mode to park mode, so that's a different type of video quality, and I want to see how each one performs at night. So let's try it out. And this is actually pretty insane. Notice how bright the street looks. The 70mm Lumi Vision technology is boosting the brightness based on the amount available to the point that this is almost full color night vision. And because the Omni is able to track movement, it can also follow the subject even in dark environments like this. Now the A229 Pro also supports motion detection, and it does work. Even on this very dark street, it is able to detect me walking by. However, notice that the image is much darker since it's pretty dark outside. Now the A229 Pro can be switched from motion detection to night vision mode in time-lapse format, and it actually performs really well. However, notice that the video runs faster, which is how time-lapse normally works. Time-lapse does have its use, and while the Omni can also run in time-lapse, my preference has always been for normal video, as I feel that there is more detail versus a time-lapse. And now that we've seen how it performs at night, you may be wondering how it handles daytime, because that comes with its own challenges, including strong sunlight, which can lead to washed out or overblown video. So to prevent those, 70mai uses what they call Make Color Vivid Plus solution. This technology uses intelligent exposure control to improve the colors and make it more vivid. They also use windshield color compensation technology, which helps to reduce reflections and glare. And I think when you combine both of these technologies with the circular polarizer filter, the image quality actually does look really good. But probably the #1 challenge for dash cams is being able to read license plates. 70mai's solution to this is what they call the region of interest algorithm. This algorithm focuses on the license plate area and allocates more processing power to that place to make it clearer. The other areas of the video, typically the sky and the dashboard of the vehicle, those are gonna be second in priority to the algorithm, so the video for those areas can be compressed a little bit more, while the area that contains the license plate is gonna be prioritized. This is especially helpful for cases where there are fast-moving cars, which can result in blurry images. But with 70mai's region of interest algorithm, capturing cleaner license plates is possible. And tunnels and underpasses also present a challenge. When entering one, the sudden change can make the video too dark briefly for that moment, and as soon as you exit the tunnel, the sudden change in light can overblow or overexpose the video, which can lead to poor video quality. So to solve this issue, 70mai uses auto exposure with anti-shake algorithm. This quickly detects changes in light and adjusts gradually. That way you don't have abrupt changes in image brightness. So by eliminating those sudden blackouts when you enter a tunnel and overexposing the image when you exit a tunnel, the transition in brightness feels and looks more natural. Now let's take a look at the side-by-side comparisons, starting with Dusk, which again is the transition from day to night. And the Omni definitely has very nice exposure, contrast, very rich colors. And also, if you notice, the windshield is a lot less noticeable on the Omni. So I will have to give contrast and exposure to Omni. Now, what's interesting is license plate capture is actually a little better on the Biofo A229 Pro. You can see that it's a little bit more readable. So one for the Omni here, and the other one is gonna go to the Biofo. Moving over to driving on a very dark road, here I'm looking at 3 different things. I'm looking at lane markings and road signs, basically how clear those are, and also at brightness, which is the detail in the shadows. And I'm also looking for blurriness, because that can happen at night. And here the Omni actually does have very good readability when it comes to road markings and road signs. They do look a little bit sharper. There's a lot more detail too. And the center of the image actually looks brighter, and I think it has to do because of the contrast. So you can see on there that the sides do look a little bit darker. Now this does come at a weakness, because that means that when you do go into a dark area, that extra contrast can make some of those details disappear. So you can see on this tunnel that the Biofo A229 Pro is actually a little bit brighter in terms of showing those details in the shadows. So lane markings and road signs, I'm gonna give that to the Omni, and the overall brightness details in the shadows, I'm gonna give that to the A229 Pro. Now, as far as blurriness, you can see on here we're going through this tunnel, and notice the detail on the right hand side. It's a lot more cleaner and readable on the Omni, so Omni definitely is gonna get that point. Now, most night driving is gonna include a combination of brighter areas and darker areas as you're driving by, so I'm looking at exposure and contrast as well as motion blur. Now, for exposure and contrast, I definitely think the Omni has the upper hand. Notice the detail on the taillights, it's a lot sharper, so it's able to handle that a little better. And also notice that the colors do look richer. The images are close, but I do think that the Omni does have the upper hand right here, so I'm gonna give this point to Omni. Now on motion blur, I'm looking at a license plate as I'm passing by, and notice that vehicle on the left. As I pause and zoom on that portion, here the A229 Pro has the upper hand, so that one can read license plates a little better, so that point is gonna go to Biofo. And here's the side-by-side comparison of daytime, where I'm looking at color reproduction, but also the ability to capture license plates. Basically, can we freeze a fast-moving object that's passing by? That is something that is very difficult for dashcams today to accomplish. And you can see on here that when I stop the video, they're very close. 70 mic maybe has a little bit of an edge, but they're so close. I'm gonna have to say that this is a tie between both the Omni and the Biofo. Now, as far as color reproduction, here hands down the Omni, just because you can see how the green color pops, the red color pops, the sky has a nice deep blue to it, and on this driving comparison, you can see right here, it almost looks almost cinematic the way that the image is captured. Just very beautiful imagery that is coming from that Make Color Vivid technology. And this is the side-by-side comparison of underpasses, which are basically very small tunnels, and I'm looking at exposure control as we exit out of the tunnel. Definitely Omni has better exposure control, and it is not overblown as far as the image, and quickly returns to those nice rich colors. You can see those nice rich greens and that yellow, it really pops. But now let's look at a little bit of a larger underpass. Now as we go through that underpass, it's kind of a bright day, and then all of a sudden we are exposed to dark, and here you can see the detail. Notice on the left side there is a lot more detail that's maintained on the Omni. It doesn't really overblow the highlights. It's more of a smooth transition as we exit out of that tunnel. And here one final last example. So definitely I'm gonna give the point here to Omni. And here's what my final score looks like. Under the Dusk category, exposure and contrast, I gave that to the Omni. However, license plate capture, I felt that there was a little bit more of an edge on the A229 Pro, so I gave that one to Biofo. And under the night category, lane markings and road signs, I definitely felt that the Omni had an edge on there, being able to see those better. And in the brightness, which what I call the details in the shadows, this is where the A229 Pro did have a slight edge over the Omni. Now under the blurriness, basically how clear things are, basically avoiding blurriness, I feel that the Omni did have a little bit more of a clear video on that very dark road. And for park mode, I think there is no contest there. Definitely I do prefer the park mode on the Omni because of that full color night vision at 30 frames per second. As I showed you, the A229 Pro does support night vision, but on time-lapse format, and I really prefer normal video versus the time-lapse format. And for the day category, color reproduction definitely went to Omni. The contrast on the video, it looks cinematic, the colors really pop, it definitely stands out. Now for license plate capture, this was very, very close, where I cannot say that one is definitely has an edge over the other, so I think a tie on here is probably the fairest score. However, for the underpass tunnel section, exposure and transition as we go into the tunnel come out, definitely very clear that the Omni does have really good control over exposure and that transition. And I know sometimes people buy dashcams based on resolution alone, but I think this test really demonstrates how two dashcams running at the same resolution with the same image sensor can have different performance characteristics. Now it also has to do with the lens that's in front of the actual image sensor. That lens, the quality of that lens, the field of view, basically how wide or how narrow it is, can also affect the image, and the algorithms that are being run in the background for image processing. So it's not just like comparing sensor to sensor, resolution to resolution, it's a combination of multiple factors. And on this particular case, the Omni 4K did come out on top, and it has a comparable cost to the A229 Pro. So if you guys want to check out the full review video for the Omni, I'll put a link to that in the description down below, along with a link to this dash cam in case you guys want to get one for yourself. And I'm also gonna link the full review to the A229 Pro, that way you guys can check out both of them. And if you guys have any other questions regarding this, please put that in the comments down below. If you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel, and stay tuned as I have a lot more dashcam reviews coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.